This Wawa 250 powered by Coca-Cola betting picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code RACESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Cody, I tried wrecking somebody to get to where I was going faster today. They didn't like it that much, so I don't know that that's probably good advice out on the road.
Yeah, maybe keep that to the racetrack route, I guess.
I just know that I sent it into the turn thinking that I was going to get to the green light faster. And I'm sorry to the whatever Corolla that I hit and to the truck that I clipped on the way back out. So
yeah, shit happens.
Yeah, I'll get penalized for it and I'll just move on. That's all there is to it.
There you go.
Hey Cody, what's up? It's Xfinity Day. Are you happy about that or what?
Xfinity Series picks on a super speedway, Rod. I'm pumped. I'm excited. Talked about Daytona yesterday, obviously, with the Cup Series. And yeah, it's same story again here in the Xfinity Series today. Same super speedway package. It's going to be basically the same thing we saw last week, intensified a little bit more because it's Daytona instead of Michigan. But yeah, we already kind of got a glimpse into it last week. I hope you enjoyed being spoiled by the numbers last week because the books did not sleep on the super speedway stuff as much this week as you would expect that they wouldn't. Numbers definitely not as good as we got last week, which is unfortunate, but still found some good stuff and got some good numbers. So excited about that. And yeah, this is going to be another exciting race. You know, the Xfinity Series still has like half their season left before the playoffs, basically. It seems like they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 races still until the end of the regular season. So a lot of moving and shaking still to go in that, but this is, one of the last wild card opportunities. They do have Atlanta still before their playoffs, but we're getting down on there in opportunities for somebody else to win, somebody else to put their name in that pot, punch that playoff ticket. So things could get crazy this week.
Indeed. And listen, it is the Xfinity Series episode, so I'd be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to do my weekly complaining about the fact that we barely get anything to give out here on these odds. Top 3s, top 5s, groups, and that's it. Winning car number. That's
top manufacturer in there too. But yeah, I mean, that's that again. It's not, obviously we're not as far along as we are with the Cup Series, which is unfortunate, but there's some decent selection at least.
Okay, well, that's just me being grumpy today. Look, in full disclosure, guys, like the day job part of my day job put me in a bad mood, so I'm going to try to use this as a cathartic tool to get in a better mood. So as this episode progresses, hopefully I'll be happier and happier. But to start,
what better place to come and change the attitude, Rod? It was either here or the liquor store, and we love seeing you here.
I'm looking around. You don't want to see what's off camera because the liquor store. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, here is perfect. So, yeah, we're here to talk Xfinity. We're here to talk the Wawa 250 powered by Coca-Cola. Another one of those long ones. Yeah, you got to give the sponsors their due, right? That's why they do that.
Hey, I mean, yeah, you squeeze it all in. If we could split the bill between us and Coke, why not, right? This used to be, Pepsi 400 week at Daytona. They said fuck Pepsi. Now it's the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Pepsi's fallen all the way to third place on the pop list for national sales. And Rod, one of the few people left still drinking Pepsi, as he's showing there on the screen over on the YouTube. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's related to them not being the Pepsi 400 anymore. Probably why they're falling farther down the list.
Fallen from grace. You know what's not falling from grace? You dressing perfectly to go out there and support the SGPN, because everything right now in the merch store is 10% off. All you got to do is use the promo code football. I'd recommend grabbing some of those fine Racing Gambling Podcast hoodies. You can get a mug in there. You can get a bag. Actually, I got the awesome SGPN tote bag that I use for all of my short trips to not only fit all the stuff I need to fit in there, but to look good doing it and to support the SGPN while I do that as well. So go in there, use promo code football to get 10% off of anything and everything. Plus, college football kicks off this week. Cannot wait to watch Army. Cannot wait to watch Fresno State. Tune in to the Sports Gambling Podcast and the College Football Experience for Week 0 picks on all your favorite futures as well.
Oh, college football's here. Dos Flacos from the top rope. I got the first wrestling reference in. Cheers, boys, in the comments. Cheers, Dos Flacos. Nice to see you. Yeah, college football's here. The Huskers named Raiola the starter today. Not that that's any news, but hey, it's going to be a wonderful season for the Huskers. I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed. All right. It is time to talk racing. It is the Wawa 250 powered by Coca-Cola. It is 100 laps around this 2.5 mile paved track for 250 miles. Cody, 100 laps doesn't seem like a long time, but on a 2.5 mile track, it most certainly is longer than you expect it to be.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be quick, not going to be easy. This is taxing race on these drivers. 100 laps can tick off fairly quickly, but it is a big track. It obviously, adds up to the 250 miles. So you're getting your money's worth for what you're getting. Going to be action packed. There's going to be big wrecks. It's going to wipe out half the field. It's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. What are we looking for as far as entries are concerned, Cody? Who's in this?
You want to hit the news first? Or you want
to yeah. Let's hit the news.
All right, we got a few news items. So we'll get to the biggest news of the day, although sort of anticlimactic. RCR loses the appeal except for the spotter suspension was reduced to one race. So his spotter can come back this week at Daytona. He's already served his one race suspension. But Austin Dillon and RCR lost the appeal on the deal there. The panel said, in keeping Austin Dillon on playoffs, NASCAR represents elite motorsports, and as such, its drivers are expected to demonstrate exemplary, big words are not good for me, Rod, exemplary conduct if its series championships are to be validated. In this case, the line was crossed. So now we know where the line is, I suppose. RCR will appeal to the final officer. So if you lose your appeal, you're allowed to take it to the final appeals officer. It's a one-man appeal crew. They can go make their case to him. Bill something is the name of the guy. He's the owner of Langley Raceway. They're gonna take it to them. Why not, right? At this point, what are they gonna strip the win from you? Who cares? Like, you're not getting to the playoffs with it anyways. They'd like to keep the win, obviously, but I think that you might as well take it all the way. Likely nothing is going to change, but I would say going forward, this is kind of going to be where we're at with the Austin Dillon situation. The win sticks, the playoff eligibility doesn't, and I think that's how we're just going to approach the last two races here.
So they're taking it to Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is the final guy that can give the thumbs up or the thumbs down on whether or not the continuation rule happens, right?
Pretty much.
Do we know what? You don't even know what that reference is, do you?
No.
Oh my God! It's dodgeball. How can you not?
Oh, that's a dodge. Oh, geez, I should know that. I know dodgeball, but
all right. There's more stuff to talk about for news. Let's talk about.
There is more stuff. Actually, huge news in the Xfinity Series world. Parker Kligerman docked 5 playoff points and 20 regular season points for a spoiler violation that was found pre-race inspection last week. His crew chief was also fined $25,000. This is massive because he goes from 1 playoff point to -4 now, which is not the biggest part, but he is the last driver on the cut line. he is only 16 points to the good now over Ryan Sieg, instead of obviously 20 points ago. He was 36 points to the good, and ahead of Sammy Smith, even in 11th place. So now he drops to the driver on the cut line, only 16 points. Got 2 super speedways coming up, which could be good for him, but also could be very bad for him, depending on how things go. So this is definitely a massive, cut to them, and really hurts things. Sammy Smith obviously jumps him in the points. It puts him farther away from Sheldon Creed in 10th. If we get a surprise winner from below the cut line now, it's going to bounce him out. If Ryan Sieg can catch up over the next few races, could bounce him out as well. So huge penalty. They're really coming down on Kligerman and that 48 team for a pre-race inspection issue, which, man, usually it seems like they don't go this way for the pre-race stuff. A lot of times they'll make you fix it and they kick some people out or whatnot. But yeah, a penalty coming post-race like this, kind of a little bit crazy, I guess.
Spoiler alert, that's not a good thing for the 48 team whatsoever. But, they have been racing hard this year, so I'm not quite sure if that's going to sink them. All they've got to do is just kind of dig a little harder. It's going to make it more difficult, but
tighten it up tighten it up a little bit. That gap they had right there, and it can go away real quickly, especially the way like Ryan Sieg has been running lately. Brandon Jones is a bit of a ways back, but there's still enough races in the Xfinity Series that a lot can change.
Yeah, if we get another couple of, it's been difficult because a lot of the winners have come from the same circles. But if we get a surprise winner today, or this weekend rather, surprise we get another super speedway, like you said, yeah, that 48 team uphill road to climb. Just don't mess with your spoilers.
Exactly. One more piece of news, Rod. NBC Sports announced that it will show every green flag lap of the upcoming races at Daytona, Atlanta, and Talladega. So your 3 remaining super speedway races. They'll only have side-by-side commercials under green flag during that. So you're not going to miss any of the action. If it's a green flag, they're going to have at least the split screen when they go to commercial. So you're going to be able to see, because as we know, sometimes it does kind of single file out and we get that. But a lot of the times you do have the side-by-side racing and you come back and all they know there's just cars everywhere. And you're like, what the hell happened? So it is nice to see that side-by-side at least. And then they'll still have full commercials during caution flag, which not a big deal, obviously, as we know. So nice of NBC to kind of, test this out, maybe see how it goes. Could be something they're leaning towards in the future. Obviously, they're a partner that's going to stick around on this new TV deal that just got re-signed for 8-10 years. So, good to see that. And shout out to NBC for doing that.
I don't do this very often. I don't use this soundboard very often, but this deserves one of these. That is a fantastic, and maybe it's because, Cody, we watch F1 and we get spoiled because there are no commercials during an F1 race. And it's just, and IndyCar does a lot of the side-by-side too. IndyCar doesn't cut away from green flag very often. Yeah,
which is also an NBC product. So maybe some tie in there, of course. Speaking of that too, Lee Diffie is going to be the guy, the announcer that's replacing Rick Allen for the upcoming rest of the Cup Series schedule. Allen's still going to be in the booth for the Xfinity stuff. And then as that switch over to the CW, shout out to Rick Allen, by the way, graduate of the University of Nebraska, got his announcing start right here at Eagle Raceway, the track I go out to all the time, Rod. Pretty cool of that to see. So sad that he's kind of getting kicked out of the Cup Series booth. Although Diffie, if you've listened to any of the IndyCar stuff, is a very exciting guy to listen to. So I think that's going to be pretty exciting.
That would be. You know who else is doing announcing out there at Eagle Raceway? I know somebody else that may end up being called up to the big show someday.
I don't think NBC is calling anytime soon, but I'm having the Eagle anyways.
I wouldn't cut that out. Preston checking in saying I missed the TNT days where they'd have half or a third of the box screen where the leaderboard that rotated in ads throughout the race had few, if any, commercials at Daytona. Yeah,
the good old days. I mean, commercials are, look, we have ads on the show, obviously. We don't like to work for free. Nobody does. And TV gives a lot of money to the thing. So I get it, right? Advertisers are needed, and that's how we pay the bills. But if we can find a way to keep the action on the screen while telling us about Cracker Barrel and whatever the hell else, hell yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. And in the meantime, let's tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy's Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry or play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball. Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. You can now use your specials and boost on all flex entries. Don't care what the number is for these guys. I'm taking the worst then on all of them for Daytona, because that is the way we roll for Underdog at Daytona. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Just imagine the regret that you're going to feel if you win your office Survivor pool, but you didn't even bother to enter the Circa Survivor contest. Don't put yourself through that. Just get there, enter. If you don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football, Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out. Hang with Ryan and Sean and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through August the 24th. Use promo code SGP15 to save 15% on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. You can sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with the proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP, and you get a free hat. Who doesn't want a free hat?
Who doesn't want a free hat, Rod? All right, are you ready for the entry list?
I'm more than ready, Cody. Let's take a break and let's go side by side. And no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's a good thing about our breaks. You don't miss any of the action. We don't give out any of the bets during the break, so you're not missing anything. Would you mind looking up and see who's in the 15 car, Rod? Because I saw there was an. There's somebody was announced, but I can't
Gus Dean.
Gus Dean. So that's just turned into a full-on pay-to-play ride. So there you go. Gus Dean in the 15 car. Do with that information what you might. Rest of the entry list, 38 entries for Xfinity, so they will all make the race. Why can I not zoom in on this? There it is. In the number 14 car, CJ McLaughlin is going to be in the SS Greenlight racing car. Joe Graff Jr. returning to the Xfinity Series. Joe Gibbs Racing Ride number 19. Best of luck if you want to bet on him. Ryan Truex is back in the number 20 car for JGR as well. Jeffrey Earnhardt, we're going to be talking about him today. He's back in the 26 car again for Sam Hunt. Jordan Anderson back driving his own car in the number 32 Anderson entry. He loves him some super speedway race. Ogata is back in the number 35 for Joey Gase Motorsports, and Cesar Baccarella back in the number 45 for Alpha Prime. That is your list of notables.
I would like to point out to you that if you are trying to attempt to take any sort of action on Gus Dean, if you think the 15 car, he has made 3 career starts on this track in the Truck Series. He's crashed out of all of them. He has never finished a Daytona 500 or a Daytona race in the Truck Series, nor has he made an Xfinity Series start. So just so you know.
But that being said, hey, anybody can do it on these super speedways, Rob.
Yes, they can. But Gus has not been able to so far. So tempt yourself, or don't tempt yourself. Larson. Yeah, that's looking like a Kyle Larson line right there. But yeah. All right. So listen, we have stuff, right? We have some good stuff that we like. Unfortunately, it's not the full buffet. This is the buffet off of the strip, not necessarily the buffet on the strip. So you're getting the, like, where you get the quarter slots and a lot of them, that buffet.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same super speedway disclaimer, right, that we gave last week for Xfinity, that we gave yesterday for the Cup Series. Take it light. It's going to end up being a shit show. Xfinity tends to be less of a shit show than the other 2 series, but still can be plenty of a shit show. And yeah, I mean, the odds just are not as good as we got last week. We were spoiled last week, and we tried to tell you that. We warned you, like, hey, they're not even realizing this is going to be this type of race. They were very wrong about that. We actually did hit that. We didn't hit a ton of the bets. We hit a few things. But yeah, the numbers aren't as good this week. But that being said, got some good stuff here, and I'm excited for it.
All right, well, then let's get to it. What do you got first, Cody?
Let's get to it, Rod. We're going to start with Fast Pasta. He did it last week for us, top 5 at 16-1. Well, 16-1 was nice. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was great, because this week it's only 6-1. But that's okay. We're still going to ride it. He finished last week in 4th place at Michigan. Again, that was a super speedway type of race because of the package, all of that. Michigan generally not a super speedway track. I get it, but was for the Xfinity Series last week. Also, 5th place. He started 5th place at Indy the week before. which was just showed how much speed he had, and then had a decent race, but ended up getting caught up in some stuff there. That'll happen. But go back to Atlanta, 7th place finish there. Talladega, 3rd place finish there as well. 8th place at Daytona last year, 14th at Atlanta last season. Anthony Alfredo just continues to kind of be a pretty good super speedway guy. Really, he's been good even not on the super speedways too. He's shown up and done really, really well in this car this season, getting the most out of it. Again, former Cup Series driver. Yes, only for a season, but he does have that experience under his belt. So just going to continue to ride the fast pasta train until we're not eating pasta anymore, Rod. Who doesn't love some fast pasta? I sure do. It's only 6-1, but going to take it for the top 5 for Anthony Alfredo.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if it doesn't, what is it? If ride it till it bucks you. That's what I'm looking for. That's the one. So yeah, this is definitely Dinger car lift incoming for Rod. No, Dos Flacos, not on this one, unfortunately. I know that I love.
There's going to be some Dinger talk in a bit.
We'll talk Dingers for sure.
No car. Although the car lift is, well, I guess we do have a car lift, but the car lift's tougher to do in Xfinity because we don't get top 10s.
No, we do not. All right. I am going to take a head-to-head. I know that we say head-to-heads are not necessarily the greatest of all bets, especially on super speedways. However, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from this week, like I said. So I just had to pick something that I like. I'm only picking this side of it because, in my mind, something's got to give, right? We talk about Sam Mayer all the time being one of the better drivers in the sport, how he's finally catching on. He's doing good on road courses. He's doing well elsewhere. So I'm going to take him, and I'm going to take him over his teammate, Sammy Smith. Okay. I know that Sammy Smith has actually done very well for himself lately over the last few weeks. In fact, if you look at Sammy Smith's finishes from the last, we'll take it back to probably Chicago. 13th at Chicago, 9th at Pocono, 18th at Indy, 5th last week at Michigan, which is the more super style race. However, 23rd at Daytona. He did get a 10th place at Atlanta, but that's not necessarily a true super speedway. We kind of use it for that, but we don't. And then 21st at Talladega. At Daytona, Sammy Smith has finishes of 38th, 18th, 21st, and 23rd. Not glowing numbers. All right, but you say, Rod, does Sam Mayer do a lot better? Not really. Sam Mayer crashed out of Daytona earlier this year, finished 36th. He finished 11th in Atlanta. Okay, that's fine. Talladega, he ended up finishing 36th because he crashed out of that one as well. That's not very good for young Sam Mayer. But again, this is Sam Mayer. Like, he's going to be in there. These junior motorsports cars are going to be in and around each other. And when you look at the finishes for Sam Mayer at the Daytona International Speedway, 12th, 30th, 34th, yuck. 27th, 19th, 36th. It's all yuck. I need a matchup. I still feel better about Sam Mayer than I do Sammy Smith right now overall, because we also know that Sammy Smith is not long for this team, right? Sammy Smith is going to be moving at the end of this year. So I don't know. Does he get cut out of meetings already and not get to know anything? Probably not this time around, but I don't know. I still feel like I said Sam Mayer is probably the better end of this if he stays out of trouble. I think you finish better than Sammy Smith at -115.
Yeah, I don't know that that's as big of a deal in the Xfinity Series as it is on the Cup Series. Like, yeah, he's going to be switching from Chevy to Ford, but it just seems like they don't maybe take that as seriously. I mean, Xfinity just turns over so much that I don't know. So
actually, that's a good point.
Yeah, TK checking in. Yeah, is Smith more likely to chase stage points as well? Yeah, he's right on the bubble. So, wouldn't be surprised. Mayer, of course, is already in the playoffs with his win earlier this season. Man, I will tell you, though, Sammy Smith has been pretty solid on the super speedways. Don't know that I really want to fade him. Try to avoid head-to-heads for the most part on super speedways, but I don't really have much of a strong argument against this. Sam Mayer, really, really talented driver, very good at what he does.
Yep. And like I said, it's a coin flip, and the coin flip came up on Sam Mayer, and the better odds are on Sam Mayer anyway. So I'll take that. But all right, Cody, what's next?
Yeah. Next up for me, Rod, going back to the top Toyota market. You've heard me say it once. You've heard me say it a million times. There's only 5 Toyotas in this race. That makes this a big group. If you're getting somebody in a group at plus 550, you should take it on the super speedways. And that's the case here. Jeffrey Earnhardt plus 550. Again, not the 10-1 we got last week at Indy or at Michigan, but it's still plus 550, and I still think it's worth taking here. You have the number 81 car. He showed a lot of speed, was really fast last week in Michigan, but at the end of the day, not a good finish for him. Sheldon Creed, we're going to talk about him in a bit. He's been really good, but shit can happen, man, and things can go wrong for sure. Ryan Truex, hey, it's kind of the same thing. He could show up, he could be good, but he could get caught up in stuff. If Joe Graff worries you, let me ease your mind. Joe Graff should not worry you. And then it's Jeffrey Earnhardt. All he's got to do is beat 4 other cars at plus 550. He finished 21st last week at Michigan. Not the greatest of days, not the worst of days. Honestly, a little bit better than that. You could be the top Toyota any given week. He was the 3rd best Toyota last week, but that's because a couple of them made it to the end and survived the day. Good for them. That doesn't happen every single week. He's only started 3 races this season. They've been Atlanta, Talladega, Michigan, and now Daytona. So it's all super speedway stuff. They're putting him in for good reason. 8th place finish at Atlanta. He had a 2nd place finish at Talladega a couple of years ago, 13th place at Atlanta last year as well. Solid super speedway driver, has his ups and downs, but again, the small of a group, you're going to guy at a bigger number. I think that's what you take. So give me Jeff Earnhardt at plus 550 to be the top finishing Toyota.
Yep. Again, it's one of those things where this is a super speedway and we are betting long shots because somebody can take out the top half of the field and all of a sudden you're looking at Anthony Alfredo darting into the top 5 and cashing a top 5 bet for him. So love that. Love this, but not to the extent that I love a lot of the other stuff that I picked. Jeb Burton, top 5 numbers, by the way, at the top, not great at all. They've really nuked him to the point where it almost doesn't feel worth taking. So I'm going to take a guy from outside of it. I'm going to take Jeb Burton, top 5 at 6-1 over on Bet365. Here's the thing, right, about Jeb Burton. And my argument really only stops at this. He finished 9th at Talladega, right? He has proven that he can actually get there if he can hang around. Not to mention, he is also drives one of the biggest, and if the biggest, manufacturer group in the entire thing. Chevys are going to stick together, right? Chevys are going to find themselves. It's not hard to find another Chevy or 2 or 3 to work with on the track, right? Whereas Fords, Toyotas, if you get separated from the group, you're going to be looking for help, and help might not be there to find you. So if Jeb Burton can stick around where he can stick around his friends, if he has any, then he can hopefully kind of rise to that place where he was at Talladega, which, by the way, was his best finish of the season, that 9th place at Talladega. It's not been good outside of that. 26th at Daytona earlier in the season, and Michigan, he got 16th last week, right? So a top 15 finish for him. Who knows if that's a traditional super speedway, he might be able to work his way back up again. But this is about 75% hoping for chaos and 25% hoping that he just decides he can stay in the right groove and kind of just be at the right place at the right time at the end. There's really no solid case outside of that to be made for Jeb Burton at a top 5. But I mean, look, if you want to bet like Austin Hill top 5, if you want to bet all of these guys top 5s, go ahead. But it just doesn't feel like it's worth it at that odds, especially if it doesn't happen and a big one takes everybody out.
Yeah, exactly. You just need him to survive and get to the end. I mean, last week he had a strong car, got caught up in one of the wrecks, still had an okay finish for having damage, but we've seen Burton get it done before. He's won at Talladega. The Burtons just in general, his dad is a Daytona 500 champion in Ward Burton, right? They've been pretty good. It seems like super speedway racing can just run in families. Back to my Earnhardt point a little bit ago. Of course, his grandpa, his uncle, I guess those guys have been decent at super speedways over their careers as well. So, I do like this one. I was on Jeb last week, and you're still getting a pretty good number at 6-1.
Yeah, but not as good as what we had last week, but definitely good that we have this week. So, all right, we got more bets for you coming up. But first, let's tell you about Rhythm. Football season is here, and the college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that. Or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists. Rhythm already has you covered, too, for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. Get Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Admit it, you hate buying tickets, and that's fine, because buying tickets for your favorite sporting event, for your favorite play or musical or whatever it is you want to see usually sucks, because it entails you scrolling through endlessly expensive ticket options. And then especially that's double worse if you're trying to do it last minute. But you don't have to have that stress and anxiety anymore, because Game Time takes it all away for you. Not only are they giving you guarantees that you're actually getting an authentic ticket when you buy it, but you get lower fees, you get better prices. It's made for your phone, so you don't have to scroll through a site that was made for a web browser, and now you're trying to do it on your phone. No, all of that is right there for you. Plus, you actually get a picture. I'm picturing the ticket, but you get a picture of the seat that you're about to sit in when you get to the arena. You get flash deals, you get zone deals, all in prices, no surprises when you check out. You get the seat views, all that stuff comes with Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code SGPN for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Let's continue with our betting card. Cody, where are we going next?
Yeah, I mean, you talked a little bit about the top 5 market kind of being watered down. We don't get the top 10s. The top manufacturer market is still kind of where we're getting some really good value on some guys. So obviously I just got done talking about Toyota. Now I'm going to go over to Chevrolet. Chevrolet is a lot bigger of a field, right? There's not just 5 guys in Chevrolet, but it still has the same potential for guys to get wrecked out. Obviously, Austin Hill. By the way, if you want a way to bet on Austin Hill, this is the way. He is plus 250 to win the race. He's plus 240 to be the top finishing Chevrolet. That's stupid and makes no sense. So if you find yourself to where you need to bet Austin Hill in some way, shape, or form, this is the way that I would do it personally. But he is not the bet. But things can go wrong with Austin Hill. Thought last week, right? He was there with a chance to win, but ended up getting caught up in some stuff and not having a good finish. Jesse Love, Justin Allgaier, all these guys at the top of the board should be good, but we know how these super speedway races go. It's a level playing field. These other guys are going to be in the mix, and things can go wrong for the guys at the top. So I'm going to go a little farther down the board. That's right, Brandon Jones, baby. You know how much I love to get hurt by Brandon Jones. I'm squared up and ready to take another swift kick in the nuts again this week, Rod. But there is a reason. I don't just like getting kicked in the nuts, I promise. There is a reason I like to bet on Brandon Jones, because it's always a big number, and he hits enough. So, our guy Chiefs in the Discord, when are you going to quit Corey LaJoy? Never on super speedways, because you know how much money he's made me? Same thing with Brandon Jones. Certain tracks, he's made me so much money that I can afford to lose a few times, and it's just fine. He's 14-1 to be the top finishing Chevrolet. And also, Rod, SVG, 22-1 to be the top finishing Chevrolet in this race. Brandon Jones last week in Michigan, second place in stage 1. He was right there with Ryan Sieg at the end of that, looking fast, looking good. Gets caught up in a wreck. Hey, that's part of super speedway racing, right? It can happen, and it will happen. 9th place finish earlier this year at Daytona, 14th at Atlanta as well, 7th and 11th at Atlanta last season, 9th place at Talladega last season as well. You can go back and look at all of his great stuff he's done in his career on super speedways. He's been a very, very solid super speedway racer. All he has to do is be the best finishing Chevrolet. He's already on the top team that Chevrolet has, right, in JRM equipment. He's in good equipment. He's a good super speedway guy. Avoid the chaos and be there at the end. And for SVG, look, we've been talking him up. You talked him up again last week. We love this guy. He continues to just show up and do well. 4th place at Indy 2 weeks ago. Not a full super speedway race, but they were using the super speedway package. Was smart about it. Was right there. I believe, actually, I'm almost certain he was the top finishing Chevrolet in that race, because it was 2 Fords and a Toyota in the top 3. 3rd place finish at Atlanta. His second ever super speedway start this season. He's only done it a couple of times, Rod. Early on in the season, and 3rd place at Atlanta. That's the type of upside SVG has. He's a very smart race car driver. You saw it last week. That wreck, the wreck avoidance, the awareness. It's one of those things where you retweet it and you're like, awareness 99, wreck avoidance 99, because he did it great. He was good at it. That's what you need. Get to the end at these. He's a smart race car driver. That's what we love about him. 22-1, he's worth it. So Brandon Jones, top Chevy at 14-1, and SVG, top Chevy at 22-1.
I've said it a million times. So the whole field just better be ready for when SVG completely puts everything together. I know we laughed a lot about him earlier, and we kind of made, we didn't make fun of him, but we were just sort of saying we don't buy the hype yet. We don't buy the hype yet. We're buying the hype now, but that's because he's put in the work.
Yeah.
That's because he's actually done the things that he needs to do. He's shown us. And I know that people are like, well, I saw it all along. That's good. Good for you, because I was a little skeptical.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those things, coming off winning the one race. We had the crazy weather. It was the type of racing none of our guys had ever done. He was a pro at it. Like, okay, it was all fine and dandy. Well, let's see what you got. But okay, now we've seen what he's got, right? He's fucking dominating all the road courses we've been to. And in the ovals, he's shown up and he's looked really, really good. Oh, by the way, Colleague, as a team, extremely good at super speedway racing. His teammate AJ Allmendinger is very good at it. And that's been a strong team in the past when it comes to super speedway racing. He's such a smart race car driver. That's the best part about it. So Sean checking in. That's our Kiwi. There you go. Love it. So he's my favorite Kiwi driver right now too.
Indeed. Walter checking in. What's up, guys? What's up, Walter? Good to see you. Good to see everybody in the chat today. Love that it's a healthy chat already. All right. I'm going to give my next one out and then send it right to Cody, because you guys don't need me to explain this one any more than it needs to be explained. Justin Allgaier, top 3. His number for a top 3 is 4-1. I mean, again, I know it's a super speedway. I know it's a little bit dicey when you're talking about top 3s or top 5s, but listen, Justin Allgaier, 8 top 5 finishes on this track. Now, 27 starts, I get that. But if you look back since 2021, he's had 3 top 3 finishes, in fact, in this one, with a 5th place finish sprinkled in there and an 8th place. So yeah, he won in 2023 in the fall race of that one. So he's the reigning winner. All I want him to do is finish inside of the top 3. That's all. Honestly, I'll take it. But yeah, 3rd, 5th, 13th, 3rd, 1st, 8th are his last few finishes. And then if you just look at what he's done this season altogether, it's actually pretty damn impressive. He's been in the top 10 in 9 of the last 11 races. He won Darlington, 2nd at Richmond, 4th at Loudon, runner-up at Pocono, and he won last week at Michigan. Dude's on a roll right now. Like, he is finishing the way he should be finishing in that JRM equipment. I feel like a top 3 is not out of the realm of possibility for him, because he's been able to stay out of trouble. Cross my fingers that he continues to do that, because we know that Justin Allgaier loves the piano. Daytona earlier this season, like I said, an 8th place finish. Really bad luck for him at Talladega, 38th place finish at that one. But again, it's Justin Allgaier, right? I mean, I was off of him last week, and guess what? He won. So now I'm on him this week. He's going to lose. But at the very least, I want to get it out there that I do think that I should have stuck with my Justin Allgaier love another week, because you guys know that I've loved Justin Allgaier from the moment we cracked the mic open for Xfinity Series racing. So, it should become no surprise that I like his top 3 number at plus 400.
You like Justin Allgaier? Wow, this is shocking news. I had no idea.
Breaking news. Rod likes Justin Allgaier. So, no.
That's funny. Yeah. No, I mean, you just showed us.
Oh, that's funny.
It is funny because, but no, he showed us last week why this is a good bet, right? Is he going to do a back-to-back week on the Super Speedway? It's not going to be easy, right? We know that, but we also know how good he is. And if this is a cleaner race, if it is less wrecky, then things, will work out pretty good. If it's not less wrecky, Rod, since that's what the terminology I'm going with, apparently, I would like to make the case for Joey Gase. 2 weeks in a row talking up Joey Gase. Talked about him last week on the DFS episode, actually, for Xfinity Series, but going to talk about him today in the Xfinity Series betting episode. Top 5, 30-1 over on Bet365, Rod. I like this bet a lot. Also like Top Ford at 15-1. So now I've hit all of the top manufacturer markets. Top Ford, it's a lot similar to Toyota, where it's a smaller field, right? You got 2, 4, 6, 8. There's only 8 Fords in the entire group, and Gase is towards the bottom at 15-1. You've got Herbst up top. You got Custer up top. Can these guys finish well? Do these guys finish well a lot? Yes. Do they also take each other out sometimes? Do they also get involved in wrecks? Yes. Do we like Ryan Sieg? We're going to talk about him in a minute. By the way, he's going to be on the top floor in his car lift, so we're going to be covered there. Now that's one less guy you have to beat, right? DiBenedetto scares me a little bit because we know what he can do. Great finish last week. Kyle Sieg, if he doesn't end up upside down like last week, but he can end up, right? Blaine Perkins, Gus Dean are the other two guys in this group. Joey Gase at 15-1 definitely has some value. Talked about him last week on the DFS show, like I mentioned, but when you look at Joey Gase, he doesn't, this is a Gase-owned car that he is in the 53 car, rather. And they had some mechanical issues last week, which, hey, that kind of stuff happens with these lower budgeted teams. It's going to happen, but he picks and chooses his starts. He only races on the bigger tracks. He only races on the super speedways. It's because he's pretty freaking decent at them. 18th place at Talladega, 18th place at Daytona last season, ninth place at Dega last year. That's what you're looking for, the upside of a 9th place finish. 14th at Daytona last spring. That's another good finish. 2022, 16th at Talladega, 16th at Daytona, 21st at the other Daytona race. Like, very good, solid results. Not blowing anybody's doors off, not competing for the wins. Surviving the chaos, getting to the end. That's what you're looking for. Top 5, he's going to need a lot of chaos, right? It's going to need to be wrecks. We're going to need to be 3-4 overtimes that do this at the end. We've never seen that happen before, right, Rod? Oh, yeah, we see that happen not on super speedways. Imagine what we're going to see on super speedway, right? So that case is there, and sometimes you have to place bets for the ultimate chaos. Maybe it is a clean race. We don't have an overtime finish. A lot of guys finish the race. Joey Gase probably not going to be in the mix. But if we do, you get a couple Fords taken out of this. This is another one where you can finish 16th, 17th place, which he does a lot on super speedways. And maybe he is one of the only Fords remaining and ends up being the top Ford on the day. 15-1 for that. Small bet on this, I think, is worth it. 30-1 for his top 5. Again, you're going to need a lot of chaos, but he's a very capable driver. He's shown time and time again that he can get to the end of these races. That's all you need, is give me to the end of these races and you have a chance. If you can finish in 16th, you can finish in 5th, because there's not that much of a difference on a super speedway in a chaotic race at the end of the day. That's why he's in the Cup Series as well. We talked about him in the Cup Series yesterday. 44 car. Oh, that car's really bad. Probably not going to touch it there. But one of the reasons he's there, because he's really good at this type of racing. That's what they're looking for. So, and then Dos Flacos talked me into another bet that I'm officially adding to the card. What's the history of the 31 car? Retzloff strong at Super Save. It's Super Saver. That's a local grocery store, if you're wondering where my mind's at. Strong at super speedways and Daytona in general. Top 5 sitting at 7-1. I don't know how I missed this in my first research, but I talked Parker Retzloff up yesterday for the Cup Series. By the way, he's going to be in the Cup Series as well, because he's really freaking good at this type of racing. 7-1, absolutely criminal for Parker Retzloff. Rod, Daytona to open the season, 3rd place. Atlanta the next week, 5th place. Had a rough go of it at Talladega. Last week wasn't the greatest to him either, but he has been really solid in his attempts at the super speedways. If you go back to last season, he had a 4th place finish at Daytona to open the season, 7th place in the fall. So in the last 3 Daytona races, he's been in the top 7 in all 3 of them. That's a pretty good track record. Go to Atlanta, 16th place there. Not too bad of a finish either. So you really like to see that from a guy like him at this number, 7-1. Great call out by Dos Flacos. I'm officially adding that to the card. Because, I talked to him up yesterday. Loved him for that. Love him for this as well. Again, this guy is just very, very solid on super speedways. So Joey Gase, Parker Retzloff, if you had those on your bingo card, congratulations, and scream bingo in your car.
Bingo! Gotta love the glasses game for Retzlaff, too. Definitely on point. All right.
Keeping all the nerds proud.
Hell yeah, man. Look at it. We got right here. I'm with you, Parker. All right. I'm sticking on my Allgaier train. He is in Group A over on Bet365. I'm going to take him to win that one at plus 260. This group encapsulates Jesse Love, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer. If I think Allgaier could win this race, or at least finish inside the top 3, then I think it's better. However, I will say Allgaier may have to win this race to beat Creed, because if I could bet who's going to finish second in this race, to finish second, it would definitely be Sheldon Creed at whatever odds you throw out there. Sheldon Creed has finished second on this track in both of his last 2 races out there. So Sheldon Creed, a strong second place contender. However, again, this is not necessarily this is a track that he loves for sure. But we also know that Sheldon Creed can also do Sheldon Creed things and put himself in bad positions and not necessarily finish these races. He did have a 4th place in Atlanta earlier this season, 6th place at Talladega, good, strong showings. But I still think Justin Allgaier, like I said, if I think he's going to be a top 3 car, I think if Sheldon Creed finishes in 2nd, that's probably the only way he loses this. Jesse Love started Daytona on the pole, right? Good, strong showing. Started Atlanta on the pole. We thought, holy cow, this kid's here to play. And he was. But he finished 20th. He got a hard lesson that day in Super Speedway racing. Atlanta, right? Led 157 laps. We thought, oh, no, here he comes. Unfortunately, he ended that one in 12th place. He did win at Talladega. So, again, but the last few races for Jesse Love have been more of the rookiness out of this, right? 22nd at Pocono, 13th at Indy, 29th at Michigan. He sprinkled in some good finishes, right? 9 top 10s, 5 top 5s, and that win. But again, this is a different animal altogether, this fall race that is at Daytona. And I don't know that he's going to get the same amount of love that he did when he first got going. And then Sam Mayer, we already talked about Sam Mayer. I don't know that Sam Mayer is a top 3 car, particularly this week. So if I don't think he's a top 3 car, and I think he does finish somewhere in the top 10, that's fine. I still think it's better to finish, or I think he's going to finish better than Sammy Smith in all of this, but I don't think he's going to finish better than Justin Allgaier. So if I'm taking Allgaier at to win any kind of group, that's probably the group I'm more comfortable with. Like I said, Love and Creed give me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies as far as they could possibly screw this up if Creed finishes 2nd and Allgaier finishes in 3rd, or if Jesse Love messes around and wins this Daytona too. But again, I still think Justin Allgaier's on so much of a roll right now, whereas, Jesse Love's sort of taken a back seat. Sheldon Creed, we've talked about how good he's been, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 4th in his last 3 races, but 26th at Chicago, 33rd at Nashville, 2nd at Loudon, 2nd at Sonoma. Stop me if you heard that one before. But yeah, I think this is a Justin Allgaier week, and I think he's going to win this group.
Yeah, hard to argue this. I mean, it is a tough group for sure. Especially Love and Creed are very good on the super speedways, but all these super speedways groups, I mean, things can go bad, things can go wrong for anybody. And to win one of these groups, I mean, you could finish in 30th place and win this group if things fall correctly for you. So you don't hate that. And Allgaier's proven he's very good at these. Obviously, we just saw it last week. So somebody else who's proven he's very good at super speedways, Rod, my guy, Ryan Sieg. That's right. We're not going to come to a super speedway and not get the Ryan Sieg car lift. We're running it back. Last week, he showed us a lot of hope. He won stage 1. He looked good. Things did not quite end how he wanted to, but we're taking that shot once again this week. Ryan Sieg is going to be in the mix. He's going to look fast. He's going to look good. Just needs to get to the end, Rod. Top Ford at plus 270. We already talked about the Ford market. Not a ton of cars in there. Now you've got Joey Gase at 15-1. You also have Ryan Sieg at plus 270. They only beat 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other guys. That's it. One of those 2 guys has to beat 6 other guys to be the top finishing Ford. You like having that market kind of cornered in that way. Top 5 is 3-1. Not the best number ever, but we're going to take it. Top 3 plus 550. And to win the race, 20-1. The numbers have definitely come down from where they used to be, but Ryan Sieg, probably the guy who's won me the most money throughout Xfinity Series betting in the past. Absolutely love betting on this guy. You go back and you look, you're just going to read his Daytona finishes for you. 22nd in the spring, not the best day, but 6th, 8th, 26th sprinkled in there, 8th, 16th, a couple of bad ones, 9th, 4th, got a 3rd, another 3rd, a 9th place. That's what Ryan Sieg can do. Talk about a veteran racer, 21 starts in the Xfinity Series for Ryan Sieg. Absolutely love Ryan Sieg on super speedways. If you've listened to the show for any amount of time, you know that I continue to pick him each and every time we come to these races. There's a reason for it. It's much like Corey LaJoie over in the Cup Series. Guys that continue to cash money for me, I'm going to continue to bet on every single time. Give me the Ryan Sieg car lift.
And Dos Flacos acknowledge the original Tribal Sieg. I acknowledge you, Tribal Sieg. I have no idea what that is. That's all right. Wrestling fans out there know exactly what that is. And by the way, we need to get Sieg the red necklace. That's all we got to do. Yeah, look, again, Ryan Sieg, the last 2 races on this track, the fall races especially, have gone into overtime. So all of the chaos that can ensue and all of that, Ryan seems to find his way through it and around it and ends up finishing well on this track. So that's really kind of what you look for too, is somebody that can stay out of the mischief. When everybody else is involved in it, they can just sort of skirt through. And what's more impressive is when they do it and they're running up front where it happens. If you can avoid it where it happens, then you're a hell of a driver. And Sieg just seems to have the knack to do that. So I like that. All right, going to my next bet. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Winning car number bet. This one's super juice, though, and it's a little bit frustrating. I get it, but this is winning car odd at -135 over on Caesars. Odd, you get guys like Justin Allgaier. I know you get Sam Mayer, but I don't think Sam Mayer is going to win this race. You get Brandon Jones. You get guys like Austin Hill, who, by the way, has so many wins on this track, they might as well just rename it the Austin Hill Super Speedway in the Xfinity Series for sure. But yeah, you get guys like Shane Van Gisbergen if he actually decides that he wants to show up and win a race. There's a lot of great guys. And did I say odd? Yeah, I said odd. In my mind, I was thinking under like a certain number, and I was like, I'm going way outside the box. But no, but you get a lot of great folks out there that are odd numbers. You fear guys like Jesse Love in the 2, who's already won a super speedway. You fear guys like Sheldon Creed in the 18, who's finishing second place a ton of times. But I think there's enough people in this odd mix that have won. And honestly, this is kind of a way to bet and double down more on Austin Hill if you think Austin Hill's going to win this race, because like I said, the odds are that he's going to do it. Austin Hill, we haven't really even talked about Austin Hill because neither one of us like his odds. What is he like? 6
yeah,
or 2 to 1 to win the race?
Yeah, I think +250. Again, if you're going to bet on him, top Chevy, +240 is probably the way to go. But he just, man, that's why we were all over him last week. You got to take him at the number because you're not going to get that type of number this week. I mean, that's the number we were getting for his top 5 last week. Insane. Obviously didn't cash, unfortunately, but he's just almost impossible to bet this week. There's just too many things that can go wrong to take a guy at +240, +250 on a super speedway.
I mean, he's got a 50% win ratio on this track, 3 wins in 6 races, and then only 1 DNF. It's like, but at the same time, like, it's a super speedway. So what do you do? I mean, I talked about the fact that Ryan Sieg has that ability to stay out of trouble. So does Austin Hill. And that's the frustrating part about that, because he's there at the end. It's just, that's what happens. So CT saying late to the party. Did I miss some AJ Love?
He's continuing his bullying of trying to get some IndyCar talk. We're going to have something for you, CT. We're
talking about it, CT. We got you. We got you.
There's going to be something. You didn't miss the AJ Love because that's coming up next, Rod. Speaking of coming up next, time to get into the winner segment. And here's the AJ Love you were looking for. AJ Allmendinger, 12 to 1 to win this race. AJ Allmendinger, really, really good on super speedways, really good at Daytona. 7 career starts at Daytona. First start here, Rod, 38th place finish. A little bit rough for him, right? Since then, 15th. All right, we improved, right? Then 5th, 2nd, 3rd, and 10th. He is always in the mix at the end for these. Second a couple of times I mentioned in there, had some second places at Talladega as well. Finally got that win at Talladega last season. Got the win there. 3 top 3 finishes in his last 5 races there as well. Oh, yeah, he's fucking good here in the Cup Series, too. 6th place in the Daytona 500. 6th place in last year's Daytona 500. His previous Cup Series start before that, which was a few years back, 3rd place at Daytona in the fall race. AJ Allmendinger, extremely good at super speedways. Apparently, we're updating this number. Thank you, Walter. 14 to 1 on Caesars if you want AJ Allmendinger. So, yeah, we're going to change that officially. Not giving him out 12 to 1. That'd be stupid. 14 to 1 over on the Caesars for AJ Allmendinger. Make sure you get on that. Then, Rod, speaking of betting on guys that you like to get burned on, I'm doing it again. Sheldon Creed, 14 to 1. Look, the number is just too big. He's going to get there. We know he's got it in him. If you keep getting bigger numbers on a guy like this, how do you not take him? He just finished 2nd place last week in this same type of race, right? 5th place at Indy in this package. Strong day there. He's been, much like Tyler Reddick, top 5 in 6 of the last 8 races. Continues to just be in the mix time and time again. Oh, yeah, 3 super speedway races this year, Rod. Hasn't finished worse than 6th place. 6th at Talladega, 4th at Atlanta, 2nd at Daytona. 1 spot away from winning there. Second place at Talladega last year as well. Very, very good super speedway racer. Give me Sheldon Creed at 14-1 over on Bet365. Then Rod, Brandon Jones, already talked about him earlier, 25-1. Number's too big for a guy that's this good at super speedway racing. It's one or the other, right? Checkers or wreckers for Brandon Jones. He'll win the race. He'll finish dead last. You're going to get one of the two. 25-1. It's worth the bet. And Anthony Alfredo, maybe he gets that first career Xfinity Series victory. Look, we talked about him earlier. He's been on fucking fire in the super speedway package and in this car here as of late. Fast pasta, 40-1. Too good to pass up.
Yeah, so I love the AJ Allmendinger one because I love me some AJ Allmendinger, so I'm not going to argue with you on that one. Yeah, look, this is a super speedway, so you've got to definitely take your shots and throw your stuff around, because as much as you want to put all your money on Austin Hill to win this race, I mean, it hasn't happened 3 times, right? It's happened 3 times, but it hasn't happened 3 times as well. So don't even know what we're looking for here. But I will say that I'm taking my one bullet and I'm putting it on SVG. 50-1. SVG. Yeah, 50-1 for SVG. Yeah.
Doesn't
honestly,
matter how you mix the letters up. 50-1.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I again, once he gets this thing figured out, like, I think this is far enough into it now. He's had a couple of them under his belt. You talked about him earlier. It's time. It's time to see him kind of ascend through the ranks now. It's time to see what he can do after he's gotten one Daytona under his belt, one Talladega, one Atlanta, now one Michigan. Like, he's had some experience in drafting. He's had some experience with cars within like a quarter of an inch. He's had the experience of the bump drafting, right? And it doesn't take long for a driver as talented as SVG to figure that out. So I think we talked about it earlier too, with Jeb Burton being in one, the manufacturer with the most cars out there. He's going to have the most allies. I know yesterday we were talking about, and somebody said, well, are people going to play with SVG nicely because they know now he's as good as he is? I don't think they can afford not to, especially in the Xfinity Series. They can't afford to make enemies out there. So they're just going to have to work with whoever they can work with out there. So I think if SVG can get hooked up in the right section, if he can qualify well enough to stay around the front and in contact with the front, I think he's good enough to be able to maneuver. And at 50-1, that's a hell of a nice little price for a guy that could be hunting for his first super speedway win, his first win on an oval, by the way, in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, I mean, no argument from me here. Obviously, I made the case for him earlier to be the top finishing Chevrolet. If he wins the race, guess what? He'll be the top finishing Chevrolet. You can double dip on there, but it's for all the same reasons. He's a smart driver. He's going to find a way to be there at the end and have that chance. That's what you're looking for. That
is exactly what you are looking for. You know what else people are looking for? Our Racing Picks graphic, and it's right there for you. So get out your pen and paper. We are going to go over our bets for this Wawa 250 betting picks. And Cody started you out with Anthony Alfredo as a top 5 car at 6-1. I gave you Sam Mayer over Sammy Smith at -115, the battle of the Sams. Cody gave you Jeffrey Earnhardt as the top Toyota at +550. I said Jeb Burton would be a top 5 car at 6-1. Cody gave you Brandon Jones as a top Chevy at 14-1, or SVG at 22-1. I said Justin Allgaier would be a top 5 car at +400, by the way, guys. That's a typo. Not 40-1, 4-1. Sorry about that. My fingers and my eyes were not working together properly. So if you're on the graphic, that is actually 4-1, and I'll change that just in case. All right. Then Cody gave you Joey Gase as a top 5 car at +300 or +3,000, right? 30-1. Top Ford at 15-1. Parker Retzlaff as a top 5 is the official ad, but it's not on the card here at 7-1. I gave you Justin Allgaier to win Group A on 365 with Love Creed and Mayer at +250. Cody's riding the Sieg car lift, the Ryan Sieg car lift, by the way, not the Kyle Sieg car lift. I think you guys know this by now. Top Ford at +270, top 5 at 3-1, and then top 3 at +550 to win at 20-1. I said the winning car number would be odd at -135 over on Caesars. Cody gave you AJ at 14-1. That is an update. Creed at 14-1. Jones at 25-1. and Fast Pasta at 40-1 to win the race. I said SVG with my long shot pick at 50-1. That is it. That is the end of the racing card. I'm sorry, guys, for the typos. For those of you watching on, and also I want to apologize for SVG's top 10 number yesterday. It was incorrect. I had it at 14-1 for a top 10 when in fact it was, I think, 7-1. I looked at his top 5 number instead of his top 10. Look, we all make mistakes. I'm definitely fallible. I definitely don't get it all right all the time, but I try.
Shit happens, Rod. Walter's saying Sieg 22-1 over on DraftKings too. So make sure you shop around a little better than I apparently did not. But yeah, that's what you guys are here for, and we appreciate it. Super Speedway betting is done, Rod. Tomorrow it's the Truck Series, but not on a Super Speedway. They're going to be taking on the Milwaukee Mile. So it's going to be a different way to look at things, and excited for that. And that is the beginning of the playoffs for the Truck Series. They only have 10 trucks in there, so win at Milwaukee Mile, you're already down to the round of 8, and you love to see that for those guys with a chance to get into the championship round very early.
Indeed. TT saying nice Tennessee orange on the graphic. It's going to be football weekend. Go Vols.
Go back and watch, was it 1997 national championship game, Nebraska, Tennessee, Peyton Manning getting his ass destroyed by the Huskers. Beautiful, beautiful game. My favorite Tennessee memory.
Gotta love it. I just like playing Rocky Top. That was my big, because I was stationed in Tennessee for a while. I played the hell out of some Rocky Top. It was a song that was memorized by the time I left Tennessee. So
there you go.
All right, Cody, let's get out the door so we can sing Rocky Top to the top of our lungs. In the meantime, let everyone know where they can find you out in the world.
Yeah, follow me over on the X Rod at Husker_Zeeb. Very busy. Had a lot of articles come out today for sportsgamblingpodcast.com. I got more coming out over the next few days. Check them all out. I really appreciate all you guys reading those. CT says, dude, you were like 2. I was 5 in 1997. Thank you very much. Still like to go back and watch games like that, mostly because there's not been any good ones in the previous years for Huskers. But anyways, Rod, follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Come back tomorrow for the Truck Series.
Yes, sir. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. I've been quiet lately. Honestly, I've been trying to live a lot of life and spend it with you guys out here. So cheers, Sean. Cheers to Dos Flacos as well. Love it. All right, guys. Yeah, follow me on Twitter if you want. If not, reach out to Discord. Please follow the show also. Yeah, that's all we got for today.
That's all we got.
Guys, why are you sticking around? You're still here. Go away. All right, we love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.
Through the darkness, there is light and